Have a motion by Holland, second, still have that, roll call please.
Holland,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we'll pass that along to the contractors.
Thank you. Let's go to item 9. What-
We're gonna,
sorry, yeah, go
we're gonna
ahead.
move into fairways if that's possible.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yep.
We amended the agenda and removed that, the action to take on the Fairway building, just because it's, the bids came in a little bit over bid, and so we're gonna be looking at, some additional funding sources to do the project, and to do that, we need to have a public hearing, like we do with the City Hall, construction part of it bidding, so we can't take action on it, but I would like to kind of review the bids that were received and talk about some of the, I guess, topics that Bob and Steve and Joe and myself sat down and reviewed as far as possible deletions, and see what the council's feelings are on the project. I mean, it was bid competitively. We had 4 bids.
Right.
Low bid was Larson Construction at a base bid of $315,000. But I mean, that was, I think our last estimate was around 240, I think, something in that ballpark as far as what we were looking at. But this is where we kind of where we ended up. So Steve, I don't know if you want to run through your sheet there, some of the things you looked at as far as potential deletions and
Okay, we had one alternate bid which deleted the air conditioning in the entry reception area, and that was an $8,000 deduct, and we recommend accepting that. That's something that can be done at any time if it's deemed necessary, or we can use a portable unit for the few times that we may need it in that space, since the facility will be basically closed in the summertime anyway, the hot months. So that's an $8,000 deduct that we would take off the top, bring it down to $307. Some of the other savings looked at are deleting the lockers. We can always, Bob can have a separate fundraiser for lockers, or however he wants to handle that. That would deduct $3,950. We had an exterior aluminum window just to bring in some natural light in the waiting area, and we looked at eliminating that for $1,417. As far as the painting, Bob can see doing the painting as a staff project or a volunteer project. He felt comfortable with getting that accomplished some other way outside of the contract. Or if additional funding were found, we could bid that out as a separate, totally standalone project, but that would take $9,000 out of the contract. We have an area we've identified as Little League storage room, and it's shown being finished with drywall. Well, we'll just make that open studs, and then Bob can put shelving in there. It's a strictly non-public area. If we just have the open studs with shelving, then we can take another $5,194, which is a pretty good savings for that area. We had a new west entrance into the studio area that's going to be used after hours when the remainder of the facility is closed. We downsized that from a double door to a single door and one side light instead of 2. We can save $1,550. We included the masonry repair at the southeast corner of the building. The structural engineer has determined the building has moved as much as it's going to move, but it's more or less a cosmetic situation right now. So before we go in and completely rebuild it like we had talked about, we can at least caulk it and make it weather tight and at least maintain it in its current condition. If we do that, we can save $1,900. So those are just some general construction items that we would revise the total down to $283,989. The engineer and contractors are looking at some potential mechanical, electrical savings, but we haven't identified those yet. But we will continue to try to identify any possible other cost reductions we can to get the project down to a more manageable number.
because we did talk about deleting a couple of units.
Couple unit heaters.
Couple unit heaters.
Right.
Yeah.
And the numbers I was talking about, a couple grand here and there.
Mhm.
They have a
this will give us, this extra week will give us some time to get with the contractors, and the electric contractor, and the excavator was on vacation.
Yeah, we'll get those identified and get those in writing and see what we can.
Hopefully we can save about $14,000, cause I know there's 2 alternates on there for redoing the outside roof entrances, and I just, one way or another, I think that's pretty important that we need to do, is address the outside appearance of that building.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is a standalone project again, and we could bid that out to a local contractor as a separate project and make a more competitive number than we have in the whole project as it stands now.
You want from us?
Well, I guess just feedback on, you know, we're looking at about a $300,000 project. We have $187,000 in CD money that we've have earmarked and set aside to put towards this project. So, you know, we got another $100,000 plus that we need to find to, you know, move forward and fund this project. So, you know, Barb and I have looked through. We haven't identified any other sources specific, unless you want to do loan money from one department to another. I don't know if we want to start getting into that. And so, but with the benefit of us doing the City Hall project, you know, we're going to be, selling GO bonds for, you know, around, 350 some odd thousand. So to add another $100,000 onto that, it wouldn't cost us really anything extra. We'll be able to issue all that stuff at the same time. And so timing wise, it works out. I mean, it adds to what we're going to be levying, and, but it would allow us to get the project done without additional issuance cost. So I guess that's certainly the feedback we need is, I know we've put a lot of work into this project too, to make this happen. It would be nice to get the old fairway to be something else and put that legacy behind us and put it into something good. So.
Wasn't there a ballpark figure at one time, Steve, as to how much this was gonna cost?
Yeah, so I think the last one we had was right around 240.
And it's up to how much now?
We're about right at about 300,000. No, 283.
About
You said we're
44,000
looking at GO bond of what, 300,000 for the City Hall project?
Yeah, probably around closer around 350, maybe less than that.
And then doing the difference, here for the fairway with the GO, how many years and what does that cost eventually by paying it back?
I haven't run the numbers on that yet to know what we're looking at.
We're looking at what, 20 years?
I wouldn't stretch it out that far. I would say 10 to 12. And we're also talking, we've also had some discussions about the need for a fire truck. So that might be something that we also want to consider wrapping into that issuance, so we can try and issue that all together and save, but that's not a discussion for tonight.
Now, when we did the others, the interest rate was fairly low on those GO. Is it still in that?
Well, hopefully Detroit hasn't messed things up too much, but I believe they're all still around 2%, pretty close to that. I haven't heard otherwise. We had some initial discussion with Spear Financial this morning, and we're gonna follow up with them tomorrow once we know what the feeling of the council is, to kind of get a firmer grasp on what we're talking about as far as rate and term and all that good stuff. But I haven't heard of the bond market changing considerably, although I know that with Detroit's filing for bankruptcy, that's kind of raised some eyebrows, but they're in a much different situation than we are, so.
Well, I have no problem with this at all. We'll see it go through.
I would agree. I think we talked about all this. We talked about doing this fairway project for a couple of years now, and did I read somewhere where we're looking at December of 2013
year for sure, and I would think we'd get half the fiscal year.
And, with the lockers, have you checked with the school to see what they're gonna do with the lockers that are in the
No,
boys and
that
girls?
could be a potential.
Cause I mean, I don't imagine they're gonna use, I know they're gonna use potentially, they're gonna use the hall, student lockers in the halls,
Right.
that sort of thing over at for the sixth graders, so at West. But there's been no mention about what they're gonna do with those lockers that are in the old
And
building.
even then, I think they'll have a lot of extra lockers.
Oh, yeah.
so.
Okay. More to come on that project.
Yes, yeah, we'll be, so next Monday, when we hopefully set our special meeting, we'll be able to, set the public hearing, and we'll have a high-end range for this project, for the other project, and we'll get some of those numbers finalized, and, hopefully be able to take action on October, or, August 12th.
Alrighty, now we'll go to item 9. Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the city clerk treasurer to prepare and record necessary transactions for the account funds for the payoff of the sewer sinking revenue bond and the contribution of the Cannon County Economic Development.
And basically what this is approving that